So I've made it publicly aware that I have some concerns when it comes to Ant-Man and Wasp, mainly because I've got two girls, and I have come to fear them touching anything. And so I always think of the worst case scenario when something happens like that. And I've been kind of hoping for something to come along that would protect these cards, and I think I found it, and I wanted to give it a shot. Also, so far on the channel, I've not been able to succeed with Ant-Man, so that's another thing I want to do is try to win with Ant-Man. So we'll see what happens. So for setup purposes, I'm going to be Ant-Man. I'm going up against Klaw, and the modular set that I'm adding for this game is Armadillo. So a little feedback that I need to go over. I need to draw until I get a minion for Klaw. Klaw has attack of 0, but what happens is when he activates and attacks against me, he gets to draw 2 boost cards essentially, and I have to take all the damage based off the boost. So I've tried this a couple of times. I've been successful sometimes. I haven't been so successful other times. So let's see how it goes. So to get started, I went ahead and discarded cards until I got my minion, and I've gone ahead and drawn my hand. I know that I probably should have done this before I did this, or I should have done this last, but I figured you guys could kind of be a part of the process of my mulligan or not. So I'm probably going to drop Surprise Attack, and I'm going to grab one more card. It was target acquired. It doesn't really do much for me. Shoot. So this is my thinking. I want to try to get these kinds of cards out as soon as possible. By putting Helicarrier out, it basically gives me a free resource each round. So let's go ahead and I'm going to swap to Ant-Man, where I get to take off. I would have taken off one. I already had one off. So I've swapped to Ant-Man. I'm going to play Pem Particles, Sentry, and Target Acquired, so I can play the Helicarrier. Because I played Pem Particles in my teeny form, I get to draw a card. It's an energy. So I'm going to exhaust Helicarrier to play Army of Ants, and I'm going to use energy to play Avengers Tower, which is pretty good, I believe. So I will exhaust Ant-Man to remove 2 threat from this scheme, and then I will use Army of Ants to basically take off this tough, and that will be it for my first round. So for the villain phase, we're going to get started by putting 1 on underground distribution. Then Klaw is going to attack me. As I mentioned earlier, he gets 2 boost icons. So that's going to be 3 damage that he does. So I take 3 damage, and then I take another damage from Armored Guard. So that takes me from 12 to 8. And then I am going to get my boost card, which says, when revealed, discard a support I control. Support or ally, right? No, upgrade or support. Well, these are going to do things for me, and I have like 3 of these, so I'll get rid of this one. That's what I'm thinking. All right. So to get started, I am going to use Pem Particles to play Giant Strength, and I get to draw a card because again I used Pem Particles, and I come out with She-Hulk. I am then going to swap to Ant-Man, where I do 1 damage. I'll put it on Armored Guard, and I'm going to use Piercing Strike and Surprise Attack to deal Relentless Assault, which will allow me to if you pay using a resource. Okay, so it gains Overkill because they both were attack. So I will do 5 damage. So 2 to him, and then 3 to Klaw. So he's gone now. So that means that Klaw is now at 9 health. And then I am going to attack Klaw. And because I have giant strength and Ant-Man, I will do 4 damage, which means that Klaw is now at 5 health. Starting off, we're going to add another threat to the main scheme. Klaw is going to attack me. He's going to use 2 icons, and he gets Assault, which has no icons, and then he has a boost icon, which says if this activation deals damage to you, exhaust your hero. Well, it's not going to do any damage.
Rejected!
So I take no damage. Cool. And then I get my boost, or my my encounter card. I'm sorry. So for my counter card, I get Armored Guard again. So I'm going to give him a tough status card, and that should be it for the villain phase. So I'm not sure if anyone paid attention during the villain phase, but I got 2 resize cards. So this should be pretty interesting. So I'm going to use my resize now, which will allow me to flip over to Ant-Man. I get to take off one of the threat, and I get to draw a card, and it's target acquired. And then I'm going to do the same thing. When I play resize, I flip over to Ant-Man, and I get to draw another card. Giant Stomp. I will take off 1 here. Actually, I'm going to leave this on him, and I'm going to do the 1 damage here, and then I will attack for 4, which means Klaw goes down to 0. So Klaw is now at stage 2, where I have to find Immortal Klaw. It gives him plus 10 hit points, and it also gives him an accelerate icon. So he's going to make this scheme go by faster. So this starts off with 3. And so he starts off with 18 health, because that's what's written here. But with Immortal Klaw out, he has 10 additional hit points. So he starts off at 28. One thing I think I'm going to go ahead and do, because it's pretty cheap, is I'm going to exhaust these 2 cards, and I'm going to spend these 2 cards so I can put She-Hulk out. Actually, what I can do, I've flipped over twice because of my the cards I had resize, but I can still swap over to my Ant-Man form here, which will allow me to take off 1 here. And then I can use She-Hulk to thwart for 2. So now she's taken 2 damage. And we can get rid of this card. This stops him from getting the activation here. And it reduces his health to 10, or by 10. So I like it. I think that worked out really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up here, and we'll start the next round. So we're going to go ahead and add another threat here to underground distribution. I am now going to get attacked by Klaw. He's going to do 1 plus his 2 boost icons, which is just 1. So he does 2 damage to me. And then I take another damage from Armored Guard. So I'm now at 5, and then I get my encounter card, which is Weapons Runner, who gains Surge, and Klaw's Vengeance. He attacks me. If his attack deals damage, place 1 threat on the main scheme. So he attacks me for 3. So I'm now at 2 health. And I place another threat on the main scheme. And that should be it for this. So, I think the thing that scares me right now is the fact that I'm at 2 health. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have She-Hulk attack and get rid of Weapons Runner. This means that she has another damage icon on her. I'm going to use Helicarrier to play Giant Strength. And I'm going to use Avengers Mansion, Martial Prowess, and Giant Stomp for Ant-Man's helmet. I guess put this over here, really. And then I'm going to swap over to Scott Lang's form. So I get to heal for 1, and then I'm going to heal for another 3. So I'm now at 6 health. And I am going... That's going to be it for me. So the scheme probably will pop now, but we'll add 1 there. And then Klaw is going to add 2 more plus nothing. Well, it still pops. And it says that I must discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded and put that minion into play. Not doing this right. Alright, Weapons Runner. I was thinking it was someone else, and I'm pretty sure that person's coming soon. Armadillo. And now I get my encounter card, which is Gang Up, so I have to get this card gain Surge. Armadillo! There he is.
Oh no.
It's tough. So, I have a lot of stuff going on. Alright, so some of the first things I want to do is I'm going to exhaust Helicarrier and Avengers Tower to play Spider-Girl. Spider-Girl is going to stun and confuse a minion, right? Yep, it doesn't say anything about what type of minion, so it goes on to Armadillo.
Nice.
So he is not able to activate against me. I don't know if that gives him an extra tough or not. And then I am going to use Swarm Tactics and Tigra to play Combat Training. I am going to then flip over to Ant-Man. I will ping off the tough with my extra damage. I am then going to use Spider-Girl to attack for 2 damage. I am then going to use Relentless Assault. Oops, can't do that. Alright, so I won't attack with Spider-Girl, but I will use Relentless Assault and get rid of Armored Guard. I will then use Spider-Girl and She-Hulk. She-Hulk will do... She had 3, 4, so she does 4 damage. And now she's gone. This is all going to Klaw. So 4 and 2, so that's 6. So he's at 12 health now. And then I am going to attack with Ant-Man for 6 damage. So he's now sitting at 6 health. Yeah, so this should be great. Alright, so to get started, Klaw is going to attack me, but I'm going to go ahead and have Spider-Girl is going to defend for me. So we are looking at... Oh, that's unfortunate. She takes 3 damage. She's gone. Weapons Runner will attack me. So I am at 7 health now. That's because I was at 6, but then when I switched to my giant size Ant-Man's helmet kicks in and gives me 2 health. So that -1. I'm at 7. Okay. And then Armadillo will lose his stun condition as he tries to attack me. I'd be interested to hear what people say. I don't think that means he gets another tough status card, but all right, now my counter card. Armadillo, tough it out. Give Armadillo and the villain a tough status card. If one or fewer tough status cards were given this way, this card gains Surge. Well, this is interesting. That is interesting. All right. I'm feeling really good right now. So I am going to play Thor and Surprise Attack to play Piercing Strike on Klaw. What that does is it has piercing, which means that I go through any tough status cards. So that means he loses the tough and he takes 3 damage. So he's at 3 health. And then I am going to play Skills Strike, which gives me +2 on an attack that already does 1, 3, so it's 4, so it gives me 6 attack. He's now at 0 health. So I completed it. So I finally was able to succeed using Ant-Man. I have a lot of thoughts about everything, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll try to keep it all very streamlined. First thing I wanted to do was thank Combined Toploader. He has an Etsy page. I'll leave a link in the description. They were the ones that gave me the Toploader card. Not gave me. I paid for it. But they were the ones I bought the Toploader card from. It's a solution I really like. The only issue I have with it specifically is there's not really a way for me to determine whether I'm exhausted or not. So I've left something in the description for buy the same token, and basically it's a exhaust ready token. You could probably do the same thing, go into Amazon and you buy 2 bingo tokens. One's red, one's green, and then you hot glue them together, do the same thing. But for me, most of them I saw I would have to end up paying more money for 250 of those than I would for the 5 from buy the same token. But I'm getting off topic. Now, I will leave the link in the description for my deck list on Marvel CBD, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was things that I would drop and things that I really appreciated in this deck with this scenario. First off, I had Target Acquired. I thought it would have done a lot more for me than it did. After I played through the scenario, I went back, I looked at the different boost icons, and I only saw 4 in the entire what I was going up against. So it's not really that great for me. I mean, it would have stopped Weapons Runner from coming out, and it would have stopped me from getting exhausted if Klaw had attacked me. So I probably would have taken those 2 out. Another thing I probably should have added was Quick Strike. When I flip over to Ant-Man and I'm able to attack for 6 damage, being able to pay 2 costs to do that 6 damage again, I think is a pretty good cost for its worth, but that's my opinion. So with that, Piercing Strike, I feel like that totally helped me, especially going up with planning on trying to take down Armadillo, right? Because if he has 7 toughs and I get to play 1 Piercing Strike, I've gone through all of the toughs and now I'm able to put some damage on him. So I thought that was a really good call, and it ended up saving me the entire game, I think. Relentless Assault, I think, is always good if you got a bunch of minions. Surprise Attack, I thought I would have used it more, especially with the way that my deck is built. You know, with Ant-Man, your mechanic is you want to flip over constantly between your 2 hero forms. So I felt like that would have probably come in play a lot more than it did. But and then last I wanted to talk about Skilled Strike, which I thought was, it's an awesome card for Antman. When you're talking about, I do 6 damage, I get to, for no cost whatsoever, I add 2 more to that damage, so I could do 8 damage. That's about as good as his Ground Stomp, which cost him 3. So I think that Skilled Strike should be a must include in an aggression deck for Antman, but that's my personal opinion. I think that's all of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. But hey, thank you for spending the time watching this video. And I also wanted to mention that I'm probably going to start changing the way I do some of the recordings. Well, not change the way I do the recordings, but I'm talking about possibly start releasing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, possibly with Thursdays being a longer scenario. But let me know what you think in the comments, and like and subscribe the video, the channel, so that way I know this is content that you are interested in. Thank you.